of messengers coming or going is concerned, that is beside the point. The most important thing for you to establish is, according to the Holy Quran, if somebody claims to be a prophet, what is the duty of ordinary human beings to do on such an occasion? How they must behave towards a claimant. This is the point which has first to be established by the Holy Quran, according to the Holy Quran. Now they must establish first this, and then we will see whether they are behaving, acting according to the Holy Quran or not. Declaring us to be outside the pale of Islam, the very fact that they themselves are not acting according to the Holy Quran snatches any authority from them, if possibly they have had any at all before. Now the Holy Quran says, according to exactly on this situation, as I have been quoting the verses from a verse from the surah I don't remember, but the verse I remember. The Holy Quran says that when Pharaoh and his people were conniving to kill or murder Hazrat Moses, the big people of Pharaoh's time, they were gathered together in a session and were thinking how to kill him. Then a person who belonged to their race, their people, was not an Israelite. He had believed in Hazrat Moses but had kept it a secret. He went to them and asked this question. He said, "What right have you got?" He posed the question in two ways. He said, "Look here, in yako sadiqan, in yako kaziban, fa alayhi kadhibu." Either he can be right or can be wrong. Either he is truthful or a false person. So if he is a false person, that is what you claim. His falsehood is not going to hurt you. Don't believe in him. That's all. If he is a false person, alayhi kazibu, his falsehood is going to destroy him himself. God is not a fool that somebody is making false claims and he should destroy his addressees. So he said, you have nothing to do at all. Just don't believe in him. That's not all. If he happens to be true, yusibkum ba'dul ladhi ya'idukum, then that which he has been promising you of punishment and wrath of Allah, some of it will certainly overtake you. So to deny is a very dangerous course. Not to deny does not throw any responsibility on the shoulder of the one who is quiet and behaves. But if one takes the responsibility of denial in his own hands and refutes a person without knowing the truth, he is definitely answerable to Allah. This is the teachings of the Holy Quran. No other interpretation can be made of this. You can throw a challenge to him. Take out any Holy Quran translated by anybody and see how these verses are translated. These are the only two courses left open by God to those people who are addressed by a claimant to prophethood. Iyako kaziban fa alayhi kazibu. If he is a liar, the harm of that lie would befall him and none others. Iyako sadiqan. But if he happens to be true, then you are finished. So that is the wisest course. Secondly, in this instance, nobody has any authority to declare anybody a liar if he says that God has spoken to me. Now, God is not bound to call first Mr. Aziz and call him as a witness and say, look here, I'm going to speak to him. I mean, what they think God is? He is not a peer of the Pakistan embassy. God is the creator of the universe. If he decides to speak to somebody, he would speak on his own choosing. And he would not call any witness. Even the highest of prophet was spoken to in private. No witness whatsoever was there to tell us that in the first place, when he was revealed to him, we heard it, we know Allah spoke to him. And what is the value of these witnesses anyway? Because the most important fundamental thing to be remembered is this, that the prophet to whom Allah speaks, he is the most truthful person of his time. Any witness, however pious he may be, would be an inferior person to him in his truthfulness. So he does not require witnesses. But anyway, whether he requires or not, the point is Allah speaks to people of his own choosing without calling witnesses. Is that not correct? If that is correct, then how can you say God never spoke to him? You're a fool if you say that. You can say very honestly that I can't believe it. I don't know why, but this is my inner feeling. I can't believe. That would be a very sane attitude, very sensible attitude. But to declare that he is a false man, he is, this and that, as the Pakistan government wants everybody to say, that's extremely suicidal and very stupid attitude. There is not an iota of common sense in this. Allah spoke to Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadian or not 100 years ago. How does Mr. Aziz can tell us he was born so many years after? Or Ziaul Haq for that matter, or anybody else. Even those who were born in his time or before him, none else had any right to say that God did not speak to him. So how sensible this verse, this message of this verse is. We don't know. Allah may have spoken or may not have. If he is a false person, he will be destroyed. Not us. When I am not answerable for anybody else's life, why should I make such a noise? So all this attitude is stupid, meaningless. You held that answer into their teeth. They are employed for this purpose to spread falsehood, lies about Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salam, and this is where the Pakistani taxpayers' money is going nowadays.
This is what you say, sir, is entirely true. And he, as you said, he is giving misinformation to papers and so on. And in this respect, in my original letter, I did write to him, if I might quote, "Surely you know that Ahmadis have been imprisoned under various pretexts since last April, the latest one being their crime to uphold, declare, proclaim, inscribe and wear Kalima Tayyiba. These events have been reported in Pakistani press, even in the Pakistani section of British press. Certainly your information minister could not be devoid of such elementary and well-known common knowledge. If indeed he is ignorant of all these facts, the name Minister of Information does not behove him."
That's very good. Yes.
And with regard to calling us kafirs, I did write to him, "Mr. Aziz's letter states that according to Pakistani constitution, Ahmadis should not pose as Muslims in Pakistan. May I ask him the verse of Holy Quran and tradition of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam which give a dictator or an assembly the right to stop a people living their lives according to the tenets of Islam and then I go on."
Right? Yes, please.
As Hazur has explained, but these governments and these authorities don't have any value at all. A friend of mine in Tehran, I found change in his attitude, and I asked him what the reason was. He said, the government has now declared you a non-Muslim. So I asked him, this is the